is the question. The substance of what is on the tapes is never been an issue, because what is on the tapes begs the question: if the tapes were obtained, if the recording of the line was in violation of the law, then nothing that is on the line can be disseminated.
The court battle continued, trials scheduled and canceled over the years.
I didn't have much grade then. Now I'm great.
Nearly 14 years after the South Bend police tape scandal, the matter is once again set to go to trial. You said that you feel confident that it will go to trial next month.
I pray to God that it does, because this community needs some resolution and needs some healing as well.
I'm looking forward to some type of resolve. Now, many of the players are gone, moved past, are gray-haired now.
With no closure, Daryl Boykins died in September 2024. A distressing development for Oliver Davis and Henry Davis Jr.
No, he didn't receive justice. He was treated unfairly, and unfortunately, he was captured in a very, very bad light, and he did not deserve that. He didn't.
Sorry, how bad? Called him anything else but chief.
All those following the case, waiting on bated breath for an answer to the central questions of this case. What are on those recorded phone calls? Were the recordings obtained legally? And can they be released to the public? And if you are to win the case, then the idea is these tapes are never publicly released to protect those officers, correct?
Tapes and any recording of the line.
Okay.
Both.
Before 2026 rolls around, it's possible South Bend could get answers.
Closure, I think, is still needed for the community.
No, my sister became an undercover cop the day she graduated in 95 or 96 at Cooper Tire in Auburn, Indiana, and she was recording it through her fax machine at work the week she got hired in, and I was like a year or two older than her, and I started, because her and my mom did it for their public humility me and their personal pain of me, hearing schizophrenic audio fucking visuals through the fax line that she refuses, and they did illegal things since then. It's like the dial-up computer, but it's got little schizophrenic messages wherever the fuck I go on the planet. That's what the fuck is going on, but you can look up a Fat Bottom Girls Queen from 1969, Kennedy Kuiper, and say, hey, we're sorry your mom schizophrenically butt-fucked you. Later.
Legally.
That is the question. The substance of what is on the tapes is never...
To continue after DePape's discovery of Young on line 6031. Pfeiffer's trial brief states, quote, they actively allowed the non-consensual recordings to continue and monitored them for their own personal motives.
Personal gains.
The interveners allege Boykins then confronted Richmond, calling him a backstabber and disloyal. That's how they claim they first learned line 6031 was being recorded and copied without their consent. The interveners complained to the U.S. Attorney's Office in late January 2012, saying they're victims of illegal wiretaps.
The South Bend Police Department was recording a personal line assigned to an officer that the officer did not know the line was being recorded.
It's reported a discreet FBI investigation took place as a result, leading to a May 31st, 2012 letter from U.S. Attorney David Kapp, finding no reason to pursue charges on Chief Boykins or Communications Director DePape. Many read that and believe it exonerates Boykins and DePape of any wrongdoing. Others had a different read.
The failure to prosecute is an issue that is completely unrelated to what this case is about.
Then Mayor Buttigieg had his take. He doubled down on his decision to fire DePape and demote Boykins. During his presidential campaign, in a 2019 CNN town hall, Buttigieg was asked about the South Bend police tapes scandal.
What are on the secret tapes regarding the demotions of South Bend's Black Police Chief Daryl Boykins?
So the answer is I don't know.
And the reason I don't know is that these tape recordings were made in a way that may have violated the Federal Wiretap Act. That's a federal law that controls when you can and can't record people.
He was really putting him down. That was my frustration.
Former Chief Boykins suing the city, Mayor Buttigieg, and his chief of staff in 2013 for defamation and racially discriminatory conduct. The city paying Boykins $75,000 taxpayer dollars. But at the same time, the city also pays $500,000 taxpayer dollars to the interveners in a settlement of their lawsuit.
We didn't make that decision. That came from the administrator's decision and the legal team to pay the police and to do that. And when they were getting paid, people were like, why are these police officers getting paid?
Between Pape, Boykins, and the interveners, the city paid up more than $800,000 settlement dollars. Fast forward to March 2018. Another 3 interveners were granted to join the case, further delaying a legal resolution.
No monetary damages are being sought, just a judicial determination.
Meanwhile, the mystery of what is on the tapes continues to frustrate and fascinate.
I have no clue why the Common Council continues to persist in this action.
One thing I can share with you,
Henry Davis Jr. recounts an interaction he says he had with Daryl Boykins years ago.
and so I asked him straight up, what is this about? What's on those tapes? He told me, he looked me right in my face, and he told me, Henry, if these tapes are ever played, or when they get played, there will be people getting out of prison, and there will be people going to prison. That's what he told me straight up. What I'm getting, obviously, is speculation, rumor, some of it's factual and true.
Remember, the content of the cassettes is not what's on trial, but rather how the cassettes were created. You're saying that those aren't the questions to be tapped to continue after DePape's discovery of Young on line 6031. Pfeiffer's trial brief states, quote, they actively allowed the non-consensual recordings to continue and monitored them for their own personal motives, end quote. The interveners allege Boykins then confronted Richmond, calling him a backstabber and disloyal. 5. When the officer with line 6031 asks for it to be recorded to monitor any threatening phone calls targeted at officers. That officer eventually gets promoted and moves offices. Apparently forgotten about, line 6031 is still recorded.
Still taking,
Fast
still
forward
playing.
to 2010. Officer Brian Young is promoted and takes the office with line 6031, supposedly unaware his line is recording. In late 2010 through early 2011, DePape troubleshoots issues of the department's phone recording system. That's when she recognizes Captain Young's voice on line 6031. In her wrongful termination lawsuit, she says she heard high-ranking officers, quote, describing conduct that DePape felt was possibly illegal or at least unethical. She also claims she heard racial slurs. Here she is again in a 2012 interview with ABC 57.
I knew that I would be persecuted if I even brought this. And so I struggled with it. Do I keep my mouth shut and just let it go? And I just felt that many individuals would be affected if I didn't.
DePape reported what she heard to Chief Boykins, who then directed her to make copies of some of those conversations. But Mayor Pete Buttigieg fires DePape the same time he demotes Boykins. The city ultimately settles DePape's lawsuit, paying her $235,000 taxpayer dollars. After the Common Council approves a subpoena of the tapes, several white police officers file into the case to block that subpoena, known as the interveners, represented by attorney Dan Pfeiffer.
So even though Indiana is a one consent state, nobody consented to the recording of this line.
They have a different version of events. They allege in their initial lawsuit, Boykins instructed DePape to tap the line of Division Chief Steve Richmond in early 2010. DePape disputes that claim in her lawsuit, saying Boykins never made changes to the recording system. Now, in their latest trial brief, the interveners 5 when the officer with line 6031 asks for it to be recorded to monitor any threatening phone calls targeted at officers. That officer eventually gets promoted and moves offices. Apparently forgotten about, line 6031 is still recording. Fast forward to 2010. Officer Brian Young is promoted and takes the office with line 6031, supposedly unaware his line is recording. In late 2010 through early 2011, DePape troubleshoots issues of the department's phone recording system. That's when she recognizes Captain Young's voice on line 6031. In her wrongful termination lawsuit, she says she heard high-ranking officers, quote, describing conduct that DePape felt was possibly illegal or at least unethical. She also claims she heard racial slurs. Here she is again in a 2012 interview with ABC 57.
I knew that I would be persecuted if I even brought this forth. And so I struggled with it. You know, do I keep my mouth shut and just let it go? And I just felt that many individuals would be affected if I did it.
DePape reported what she heard to Chief Boykins, who then directed her to make copies of some of those conversations. But Mayor Pete Buttigieg fires DePape the